All right, shit's about to get real. We're gonna cut this rusty old cowl off and put the new shiny cowl on. First order of business here will be to wire wheel this, which I've already done a little bit, but I've got to go the rest of the way across here and wire wheel it and expose all of the spot welds that will need to be cut there. I went ahead, I started cutting on this here a little bit and grinding these guys out. As well, on the inside right here is a support piece to the dash, which I'll need to cut off the cowl somehow, figure out how I want to cut that off and put it on the new cowl over there. But we'll start with these spot welds in the front because they're easiest, I guess. I think this poor wire wheel's about had it. Alright, I cleaned this area up with the wire wheel, and then I went ahead and started cutting out these spot welds. You can see where I've been drilling on them. I didn't want to use the spot weld cutter because it cuts really big holes, and I wanted to keep my holes pretty small because I want to use these to plug weld the new cowl with. So I started out using that small ball burr, and you know, it'd chew it up pretty bad and kind of skate out every once in a while. So I switched over to just a 1/4-inch drill bit, and that's working really well. Leaves some nice looking holes. And then what I'll do once I've got those drilled is I take a little punch and I try and punch out just the center and loosen that. And then as well, I don't want to deform this metal too much because I want it to be a nice smooth surface whenever I go to put the new cowl back on. So I'm using this very thin scraper here to get down in there and pry that apart. I had picked up a set of panel knives here, but I find them to be considerably thick. And like I said, I don't really want to mangle that metal too much. So I'm just using this guy for the time being. I'm sure those will come in handy at some point. But for now, I'm just going to finish drilling these guys out, get this popped off, and then I can work on the spot welds in here and along the top here, and then that support piece, and then this thing should just fall right out of there. Alright, I got all the spot welds cut across the front here. Got this all loose. Looking good. Yeah, I ended up going over a bunch of these holes with the 5/16 drill bit. That really opened them up and allowed them to break loose. A few of them I still had to go over with the die grinder. I figured before I get too carried away here cutting this off, I'm going to go ahead and remove that support piece right there. Go around to the other side. And I want to make sure that I get it back on the new cowl in a similar position where it's supporting the dash, because it's holding the dash up to the cowl so that it doesn't sag in the middle, especially whenever you start putting accessories and stuff on it. As well, the steering column supports over there, but those just unbolt. And I figured the quickest and easiest way to get this off here is just cut the cowl with the plasma cutter. And so that's what we're going to do. All right, ground out these welds here. Use a spot weld cutter up here. Hit this with the air chisel a little bit. And what do you know? She comes off there. Let's take this baby off and see what lies beneath. Right on. Just like that, she's out of there. This area here looks pretty good. I think everything looks pretty good. This area here's pitted pretty bad, but I think that I can clean that up and live with it. Didn't mangle up the firewall too bad. This support piece here, so I cut that out with the plasma because, you know, the old cowl doesn't matter. But I was wondering how I'm going to get this thing back attached. Well, it appears that they just weld it right there. So they attach this to the lower cowl and this to the dash, and wherever they meet up, that's where they weld it. So that's probably what I'm going to do. Cut that off right there, weld this to the new cowl, and then just reach in here with my MIG and give that a little shot. This side over here, I've still got some cleanup to do. Like, I mean, I need to wire wheel all this, but there's a little bit of metal still attached here. So I'll take that off, clean this up, see what I got. I think for the back side of the dash here, since I've got access to it, like there's some surface rust on here and stuff like that. So I might as well do a little bit of spot blasting in here, clean this up, and maybe give it a little shot of trim clad or something to get it cleaned up. And I'm just wondering if maybe I shouldn't go ahead and patch the floors since I've got full access in here. Patch this toe board area and get that cleaned up a little bit. I'll do some digging around on this, some cleaning, and see what I got. Just go ahead and do an initial test fit of this new lower cowl piece, and it fits pretty darn good. I'm quite surprised. I mean, yeah, it's going to need a little bit of adjustment in some places, but all in all, I think it looks great. We'll see once I, actually get the surfaces cleaned up and get this thing set in here for second fitment. But I mean, shoot, that's pretty darn good. Can't complain.